All right. So business tracker, Compass tools, you guys know what you're here for. I'm sure a lot of you guys already use business tracker. I just want to show you how I use it, how a lot of my coaching clients have used it. And I think this has worked really, really well in kind of prompting how to be organizing your weeks, especially when things get super crazy and hectic like they are starting to now. So that's what we're going to focus on. If you don't know me from last week, I'm Kate Bauer. I'm an agent. I'm also a coach at Chirag Shah Coaching. I run my own team with my mom in Westchester, New York, suburb of New York City. And these are all the things that are pretty important to me in my life. And that's my Instagram. That's like where I do most of my connecting. So if you ever email me or text me and I don't get back to you, I feel like that's like, I get such an influx of all of that, but connect with me on Instagram because I love keeping up with you guys there. All right, so let me pull up the chat just in case I start to kind of get anything in here. Or you guys just unmute yourselves if you have questions. I think it's easier. So I'll keep it like this. So what is Business Tracker? Business Tracker allows all of us to keep all of our business in one place and also collaborate with any other team members or any admins or anything else. You can connect all your Google folders there. I'm going to get into that next week on ours. So today I just kind of want to focus on preliminary steps to Business Tracker, and then we'll go into kind of the nitty-gritty of all the other stuff you can connect in there to really house everything in one place, not just the business, but the compliance part of it, deal closer, all of that. So why I feel Business Tracker is important, it allows me to stay on top of my pipeline, including all referrals that either go out or come in, keep team up to date on transactions. So like I said before, I feel like a lot of us, if you're on a team and you're kind of involved in every deal, but not really, or sometimes you're just totally not after you hand something off or it's handed off to you. This allows everybody who's somewhat related on the deal to understand where it is in an ideal world. Like I was mentioning before, organizing folders and compliance docs. And biggest thing for me when I figured out how to actually use Business Tracker was that it prompts my time blocks by prioritizing and categorizing potential time blocks in my schedule. So I think I put time blocks in there twice. So what I mean by this is what I'm going to get into, but when we all see those columns in there, when you first click on Business Tracker, and I'll do a live demo if you don't know what I'm talking about, but it goes from initial contact, nurturing, searching, in contract closed. By a show of hands, we all know we're good on that. Okay. So from there, I don't just look at those as kind of like what they say. I have definitions for each of those. And that's how I'm able to go in and look at my pipeline and understand who needs more of my time and when. So we'll get into that as well. So wanted to keep this collaborative today. Initial contact. Is there anybody who wants to be brave and share how someone gets into initial contact in their pipeline in Business Tracker and what that means for the client? Perfect. I'm so happy you guys are here today. Someone share like if they go in there, and feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, you've had an initial consultation. Okay. Anybody else? How they fall into that initial contact?
So if I've met somebody or somebody's been referred to me and I reach out to them and maybe schedule like a buyer consult or something along those lines.
Okay.
So after an initial phone call.
After an initial phone call. Okay. They mentioned they may want to buy or sell. Okay. So I'm going to go into how I categorize this. And by the way, take everything I say with a grain of salt. If you don't feel like it aligns completely with you, you can alter it. This is just how I like to recommend to use it. So initial contact, someone who you do not have a strong rapport with yet, but you've spoken to 1 or 2 times. They've shown interest in doing business with you, but do not really have a defined timeline. That's probably the most important part to me, is that they don't really know when they want to buy. They don't know when they're financially ready to buy. They don't know if they want to buy in this market, blah, blah, blah. They're not giving me a 6-month timeline or a 3-month timeline, this deadline of when they need to go in and buy. These people have not gone through, for me, an onboarding process. Therefore, I am not going to spend much time nurturing them every single day. So I find that a lot of the times when this isn't organized this way, we look at this pipeline or we think about our pipeline if it's not even step 1 organized in Business Tracker, and we have no idea where or who should be getting most of our time. And that's when you start to get people who say, you know, months down the line, oh my gosh, bought a house. I'm so excited. And you're like, wait, what happened here? Because we have no idea who should be more important to us at that specific time. Therefore, no one gets a great experience. Everybody kind of gets this like blanket, I don't know, message from us or email from us, or they're on some kind of drip campaign through us, and no one really feels very special at that time. So I always credit an agent from the city, Jenna McKay, and she had, I think one day she put up like an Instagram story or something like that, and she has a lot of followers on Instagram. She gets a lot of her business that way. And she said, I have 3 slots left for my buyers for the spring. And I was like, what do you mean slots? You don't just want to take on as many buyers as possible. And when I talked to her about that, she was like, no, I mean, to me, it's like, it's a true consulting position. So I don't have time to work with 20 buyers at one time. And that's a realistic statement. And to me, that really put into position who I want to focus my time on and who's committed to me and how I can truly commit back to them. So that's why where these people end up in my business tracker is so important. I've gotten this question a lot when we get into like how I run my collections and stuff in a couple of weeks. How on earth do you ever keep track of all these collections? Well, the way I do it is because I'm only really checking 10 that are super important. And those are the people who are in searching. So moving on from initial contact, do we feel good on who should be in this? And again, it doesn't need to be this exact definition if you want to do it another way. Good example of this is like open house leads, sponsored event leads. If you've gotten a list of people from one of those websites, anything like that, to me, those would kind of be the people that go in there. Any questions? Any comments? We're good. Okay. I hate talking. This is anybody who is like in my accountability group before. I'm not used to just talking to no one responding back. So feel free to chime in. All right. Going into nurturing. So same exact thing. Does anybody want to explain who would go into nurturing?
Someone that's encouraged you, has said something like, oh, we should talk more. Oh, I've been thinking about buying. Oh, I wanted to give you a call. Any sort of positive reinforcement.
Okay, cool. I agree with that. Anybody else?
I usually do anyone who's looking between like 6 months to a year. I'll have them in their nurturing column.
Okay, so kind of timeline oriented with that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I agree with that as well.
A
Yes.
client who I have not signed a listing agreement yet. So when I'm
Okay.
working on a listing and we're not selling, we didn't sign the agreement yet.
Okay,
I usually use the nurturing thing when I have a buyer broker agreement and we're nurturing the lead, or on the seller's part of it, I will put them in if I have a listing agreement and we're nurturing it.
okay. All right, so we're all kind of doing a few different things. And I'm sure the ones who are not speaking up, because this used to be me in the calls, I'd be looking at my nurturing being like, I have no idea who's even in here or how they got in here. So I'm sure we all have a few of those as well. When you go in, you're like, I don't even know how this person got into searching or whatever it is. So moving into kind of how I like to think about this, it's someone who you've spoken to multiple times. Maybe this person was connected to you by a mutual friend or another referral agent. They do not have a set timeline, but it needs to be within, let's say, maybe a year. I like to use like those types of dates. Doesn't have to be exactly like that, but they have a defined idea of when they'd actually like to make this move. They have started the onboarding process with me, but are not ready to be going on showings yet. This is incredibly important. If you guys want to write down one thing today, do not be so quick to just take anybody out on a showing. I think that, and I've spoken to this a lot before, and my one-on-one clients know this about me. I feel like a lot of these lead generation sites, not going to name names, maybe one starts with a Z, when they, their whole entire, I guess, connection with the lead is based off of you booking an appointment. I find that that's could be an incredible waste of time. We all have our success stories from these websites, so take that. But, with that, so you take the time to talk to these people on the phone. You take the time to drive to these showings, you take the time to set up the tour, you go on the tour, you take them for a coffee, you take them for this. I mean, before you know it, you could have lost an entire Saturday for somebody who has not completed really anything for you, has not done your onboarding process, has not even committed to you, has not given you a timeline. What's the point? So that's why I really like to go in and define these people by, if you went out this weekend and you saw the perfect house, perfect everything, are you mentally and are you financially ready to go out and kind of make a decision? These are the types of ways that I like to think. So there's a big kind of thought process that goes into it for me and for a lot of my clients when they are actually going in and organizing their leads this way. So Martha, I don't know if Martha's on this call right now. I think she might have a referral thing, but she's from Cape Cod and we all know Martha because she starts all the calls. So she's fabulous. So let's say she referred me a client for Westchester, but Martha needs to sell that client's home first before I can start touring with their next purchase that's going to be here in Westchester. This client for me would be a perfect example of someone that would be put under nurturing. She's not yet in a position to purchase, but that doesn't mean that she's not very important to me. It just means that, am I going to be spending every single day thinking about Liz, let's call her? No, because she's not thinking every single day about me and about needing to make this purchase. So are you guys kind of getting like how I like to think through this? So you're not wasting your own time with anyone who you shouldn't be? Yeah, okay. Is this eye-opening at all? Does this like make you think about things differently? Because this was like a big shift for me when I started coming up with this. A note about collections. So some people in nurturing may have a collection set up, but it will be on an automatic drip. I'll go through that in a second. These people have been notified that I will not be filtering through the ones that populate. So for me, let's call her Liz, the client that Martha maybe referred me. I would be totally fine setting somebody like this up in a collection. I don't have every single person in nurturing set up on a collection, but I do understand the importance of that drip campaign that's consistently sent to them. However, if you have ever taken one of my collection courses, or if you've made a collection, you know that you have two options. You can do automatically send the listings, or you can review and handpick. This would be a perfect example of somebody that I would put on automatic, but I would let them know about that. This way, they don't think that I haven't heard the little bits that they've shared with me about what they want, but I also don't need to be spending much of my time every single day checking, the MLS, checking my collection, checking what's now populated for them, because ultimately that house that comes on this weekend, even if it was perfect, they're not going to be buying. So these are kind of like the ways that I want you to start thinking through whoever's in here. Then we have searching. You guys are probably getting to where I am. This is like the golden people. So anybody who's in searching is very, very important to me. Anybody want to share who gets into searching or how they like to think through that searching column?
Has given a time frame and a short time frame. I mean, not a year, but like 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. Ready to put in an offer, I got to.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Hey,
exactly that. Yeah.
I only put people that I have under contract here. Like if they don't have a buyer's agreement signed, I don't even put them in here, but I know we're all different with that.
Yes. So if you're in an agency state, I'm not. So if that's just a very, very common practice where you are, that's an exact person that I would put under searching as well. It's really all you want to think about is like whatever a commitment means in your market amongst, the broker community, that's who should be in this. But you also need to define what a commitment is, because I could probably ask all of you and that'd be a different situation. And that'd also be different depending on how long you've been in the business, how much you really want to be growing your business. Maybe some people want to be scaling back. Maybe some people are starting out. So you need to come up with these definitions that make sense for you. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from not working with clients. If you want to go and spend your time on that, that's up to you, of course. But ultimately, this is going to allow you to have a lot of that time back in your calendar for all the people who say, no time to implement what I learn in coaching. I have no time with my family. I have no time to do the hobby. You do. You just need to make sure you're not wasting your time on people. All right, so let's go into searching. So this person has completed the onboarding process and need to be actively searching most weekends. I'm not saying they need to be in their head to actually get the house in the time frame that they need. If they found the perfect house tomorrow, they would be mentally and financially in a position to place a competitive bid. Notice what I bolded there, competitive bid. This all has to do with the type of client that's in here. I'm not putting somebody, whether their timeline, let's say, is in 3 months and they just sold their house, they're renting month to month, all the things check out. If this person has shown me multiple weekends in a row when we found perfect houses that they're not ready to place a bid where the market is needing them to actually go in and win the house, they're not really in searching for me anymore. They're going back into nurturing. Because why am I going to be going out weekend after weekend after weekend, doing all the due diligence for each listing? Listen, we've all been there. So you also need to start and categorize this by which clients are actually going to be serious and are ready to be competitive right now. Does that make sense to you guys too? Is that like resonating? Okay. So let's take my clients, Joe and Justin, for an example. So they have sold their home and are currently renting month to month in New York until they find something that matches their wants and needs in Westchester. If they found something next weekend, they would be prepared to make a winning offer, as they would. Joe and Justin, if a house came on the market in 2 seconds, I would be ready. I'd be on the phone with them. I'd be calling a town. I'd be getting everything I could for them because they've committed to me. So they've made that commitment and I know that they're ready. They check all my boxes of what I need and what I look for in a buyer to be committing that much of my time each week for them. Searching clients have a collection set up and fit into my collection time block every day. So my collection time block, and I'll get into this multiple times down the road. This is a time block that I have every single day, which is kind of part of, it's not really like a prospecting time block. It's really like, I refer to this as my collection time block, but it's when I go through about 10, I don't know, we can go and look when I go into the platform. I think I have 10 or 11 clients that are in searching. So I'm consistently during that hour or hour and a half, whatever it takes me, sometimes 30 minutes, if no new listings have really come on the market, I'm going through their collections daily, making sure that those are as up to date as possible. No houses have come on that they haven't seen. I haven't missed a comment that I should probably be leaving about it being in a flood zone, blah, blah. I mean, all the things. These people are not just getting like, sorry, I don't know if I can curse on here, like half-ass collections for me. They're really getting like the best version of Kate Bauer that they could possibly get. And to me, that's what somebody deserves when they work with us. But I realized about like a year and a half ago, before I really started to take a look into this, maybe I had a lot of collections set up. Maybe a lot of clients thought they were working with me. Maybe I thought my pipeline was really solid, but was I really delivering the absolute best service I could? Probably not. So this is now how it all ties in together about creating this luxury experience. It really starts by having the time allotted in your day to be delivering the service that you actually want to. I don't think any of us get up every day and say, you know, I'm going to actually just do kind of like a half-assed job today. I'm not going to give them the best version of me. It's just we don't always have the time. So this is hopefully going to be making sure that at least you're searching people, those people who really committed to you are getting the best version of you. Everybody else, if you didn't have time to go in and check on them, it's okay, because ultimately they're not really in those like VIP clients of the month or so, whatever it is. Any questions, any comments?
Kate, I'm so sorry. Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Do you have a document that you kind of like show to your clients, basically saying like, hey, I have these priority clients that need to find a house right now? Do you give something to them? Because I struggle with that. Like sometimes like they need like more time. So I kind of like send them to open houses, but I know they're going to be a great client. So I don't want to leave them on this site either. So how do you handle that?
Yeah, so those people would go into nurturing for me. And again, like that's the exact person that I would probably put into automatic results coming up. Can make their criteria fairly specific so that it's not just generating, I don't know which market you're in. I think DC. So like I wouldn't put every single house that came in there, but I would make it as specific as possible to like the few things we have talked about that they were looking for so that they can still have a pulse on the market. They still feel like the great thing about collections is that they don't know this is automatic. This is automatically feeding in for them. It says Kate Bauer sent you a house. So they think Kate is right on top of it every single second of the day. So that's why I really like to utilize collections in that kind of moment. And then of course you're going to have, I'm not saying like anybody who's not in searching, don't reach out to them. It's just, are you really thinking about them every single day? Maybe not. So I think there's still a way for you to keep up with them. Collection is honestly my best friend for something like that. Cool.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For organizing your information. So I have a nice buyer and seller questionnaire that I send out. And then I don't know what to do with it. I mean, I go through it, but is there a way to save it in Business Tracker, or do I just put it in notes, or do you have anything like that that you do? And how do you, okay.
Yeah. So I think biggest thing there, and like, please correct me if I'm wrong, if you're already doing this, but after they fill out the questionnaire, what is the process? Like, what do you do with that question? Do you review it with them, or do they just kind of fill it out? You do.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say for that, like, I'll just share my process and then maybe that will be helpful for you to kind of fill in a gap. So they'll fill out the questionnaire. That then prompts an hour-long, half an hour-long consultation call where we review everything with that. From there is when I call it like unlocking the collection. So then they get prompted into a collection. So to me, I save like their questionnaire in their Google Drive, but a lot of what we talked about is either held in, yes, you could do notes, but a lot of it is also kind of like when I'm shrinking down the criteria for them in the collection, a lot of what they were saying they wanted, I already know is kind of like part of the machine that's generating certain things and not generating others, if that makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
But you could definitely keep it in notes. I would say like the most important things on there. Like I have some people who ask like kids names, who ask dog names, who ask stuff like that, like just to start to like get that, like 2 of my clients' dogs' names, like Alfalfa and Phil. Hilarious. Like I want to make sure that Alfalfa gets a fun Valentine's Day dog toy for me this weekend. So it's nice to have those names saved in there. So any of like the information that really is not like how many bedrooms, how many this, it's nice to just put in notes, and that's only going to help you moving forward after these people are closed years down the line, making sure that you took that extra step. You're going to thank yourself later for putting it into notes now.
Okay.
I was just going to add real quick. You can also upload to Google Drive or transaction forms in Business Tracker if that helps her.
Yes, that's what I was going to show. I couldn't see who just spoke, but was it you, David? Did you say it?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So, you should come run the session with me. So let's get into that. I want to take the last few minutes and do that. So let me go into Business Tracker now. Okay. Guys are good. You guys can see this?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So you guys will see here. So I have 5 in initial contact, 8 in nurturing, and then 8 in searching. So these are all the people where like, I mean, all of these people, every single weekend I get that text, what's there to see, what's this, like, that's kind of how I'm doing that there. So this is for buyers. You could do the exact same thing for sellers, same kind of thing. If anybody from Westchester, now you know the listings I have signed, you guys can come show like giving all the info. So let me go into, let's see, maybe Pamela Lane we could do. So when you go into, sorry, I just did that quickly. When you go into, let's just take a seller, for example, and you click on this, and then you go into, hold on, let me mute somebody. Then you go into files right over here. If you use Dropbox, Google Drive, you have both of those options. I'm personally a Google Drive person. And then you can also get things signed right in here. This like just got rolled out about like a month ago. You can also choose DocuSign. It doesn't really matter too much. You can link the DocuSign in here. And then this is where I have the sellers
nice.
folder linked right here.
Okay.
Okay. So this is it. So this is like, this would be the exact example. I'll go more into like my Google folder system maybe next week with Business Tracker, because this can be like a very convoluted kind of thing. But you'll see I have pretty much everything here that is needed for this listing. And then when I go to compliance, when I go to commission, when I do anything like that, I can add the offers in here. Everything we've ever created for marketing is right in here. So it is very helpful. The idea of Business Tracker, not to get too far past where I wanted to go today, but this is the whole idea, is that everything for that one client is all housed in one spot, as much of it as possible. And for me, if you're like a Google Drive or a Dropbox person and that's where everything's housed, being able to just link that, but not have to go into Business Tracker and upload this, wherever you're uploading it, it all gets merged together, is very helpful.
How
Does
do
the
you
marketing
do that?
center stuff get automatically updated into
It
your Business
does.
Tracker?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you linked, if it had something that has the listing in it. So like if you
Okay.
had to go in and type it, yeah.
Okay.
Are you able to show that the Google Sheet, what you say, how you house it and link it to your Google Drive?
Yeah, like how you actually go in and link it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me take, let's see if Frank has it up. No, okay, so this is a perfect one. So I'd basically go to files right inside of the client, Google Drive. I'm already logged in, so like make sure the account that you log in as is linked there. Connect an
Okay.
existing folder. And then shared drives for me, like our team has a shared drive.
Ah,
Go
interesting.
into clients. This takes time, so no one be like, oh my God,
Yeah.
how do I get this? We'll go through
Oh,
a
yeah.
whole course on this.
Good.
I separate them by this, and then I would go into active buyers. I know you guys are looking at me like mine doesn't probably look like this. We'll get you there. And then I would just go into Frank and Sally Greens, and then every single thing has a thing and and it's like, it's a beautiful thing. This is like my love language. Like if my fiance can hear me right now, like, this is what I want for Valentine's Day, a Google Drive something. So I basically just go right in here, click on Frank and Sally Green, press on connect. And then this is all linked right in there. So then as soon as something uploads, like if they don't end up doing this one, and then we go for another house, same exact thing. As soon as I update it in my Google Drive, this will automatically be updated as well.
So all communication, emails and everything, or communication with your active buyers and sellers is housed in your Google Drive, and then you can link to it to refer back to it.
Right, exactly. Or anything that's like part of like compliance. So in here, like this is a lot of kind of like preliminary work that we had to do on the specific building. So if I ever needed something for compliance, I could just, I'm not going to go in here because they have like social security numbers and everything on here, but you would basically just go into compliance, and a place where if they had an accepted offer, you could just go in and pull it from. It'll give you that Google Drive or connected folder link. So you don't have to go into Google Drive, re-download it, re-drag it over from the desktop and do everything. Makes it a little bit easier.
And your active clients, Kate, are those the ones that you have in contract?
No, these are
Or
the ones that are actively looking. So, and it could also be the ones that are in contract, but it's a mix.
Yep.
So ones that are in
Yeah, yeah.
contract, but think of like my searching column or like my searching
Okay.
part of the pipeline, they all have a Google Drive because there's things to put in a Google Drive for them. That's like how you want to think of it. Like people who aren't committed to you, are they even pre-approved? Is it an updated one? Do I need anything? Do I need a Google Drive for them? Probably not yet.
I have a
So-
question about maybe like a best practice as far as how you share things with your clients. So like what I do is I use Google, I think, as best possible. And so I will actually do a share invite to a folder, a Google folder, and let that, so all the documents, the transactions that obviously are coming, that are signed, and the purchase agreement, earnest money deposit receipt and all that kind of stuff. So they can actually then download it as they wish. Instead of emailing them constantly, I always let them know, like I might text them and say like, hey, I just saved the whatever into the Google folder. And then also in the calendar, I make a shared calendar with all the dates.
So good. Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, not everyone uses that, right? But at least some people do. And it's a place that I can kind of reference people. But is there a different way that people do that? And if so,
I do it the exact same way as you. So this is the exact side of it. So anybody who has a person in here, this means that either their lender, their attorney, we like our big attorney state, will be in there. So you'll see right here, I have all my clients in this shared folder. So I agree with you. I think that is absolute best practice. This is what I call like creating a client portal. And I think I know a few other agents who do this. I think it's such a game changer. So being able to have your clients have access to this, I call it pacifying your clients. Don't tell any of my clients I said that, but it really is, because how many times are we asked, can I have the contract? Can I have this? I'm like, I have sent you this 10 times. Well, it's fine. Teach them how to use this once, and then they can go in and get everything. And I think the calendar is absolutely genius.
and I will say one thing.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Finish your thought, David.
I was just going to say one thing I made the mistake of in the past is sometimes I have documentation about my notes with the client that maybe don't always, not that I would ever say anything bad, but they don't always need to see. And so, for example, like with your Hudson House on the screen, I would actually have Hudson House as like maybe the main primary folder. And then under that, I would actually make another Hudson House that says the word shared. And so I actually use that one as the one I shared. So they actually see it's shared.
Yeah, I'm seeing if I have any examples of that. So basically what he's talking about, again, we'll get really into this, but you like selectively share certain folders. Let me see if I have anything in here. I think this one does. So I think, yeah, like my clients for right here, they're in one of these folders, but they're not actually in all of these yet. So it's helpful for like commission statements, anything like that. That's just not necessarily things that they can't see. It's just a little classier for them not to have access to commission invoices and all this other kind of stuff that you might need. So I agree with you. So we'll get into this whole entire thing. David, I actually might have you on for that session if you want to help me co-run it, because it seems like you have a lot of good stuff to share. So Did
Just
somebody else have
figuring it
one
out, just
question?
figuring it out.
I know, that's all we're doing.
Hi, Kate. It's Karen DeMecco from New York City. I have a question about adding people to Business Tracker. Do you first add a client to your CRM, or can you just add your client directly to Business Tracker?
It totally depends. They'll feed in from multiple different spots. Sometimes I don't know if there's really ever like a rhyme or reason as to how they pop in there. If they're not in there for whatever reason, like if you make a collection, probably like 8 out of the 10 times, and again, I don't know why the other 2 times it doesn't happen, they'll populate into Business Tracker. Same thing in the CRM. They should populate into Business Tracker if you added them into the CRM first. But I usually find that now, because I'm just so rehearsed with Business Tracker and going like to this page, like as soon as I get a client, like I get excited to put them in here. I probably like 70% of the time just start the transaction in here and then add them in this way, because it'll pull from them and it'll link them. And then when you go to make the collection, they're already in there and all that.
Would that marry them to the CRM?
Yeah, it should, if it's
It
the same
should.
person with the same email.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have a question. This is Anne from California,
Sure.
Silicon Valley. Hi, I have a question. I just joined 2 days ago, so I'm trying to catch up with how
Okay.
everything
great.
works here.
Welcome.
Please excuse me if I asked a question that's already been answered. The question I have is, when I first enter a new lead, like it's likely to seller, right?
Mhm.
So what is your normally best practice to do? Like normally I go in there and then I add them the contact on there, and I have an action plan likely to sell to do automatically email them the auto action
I would
plan.
probably put any kind of, so I don't really work a lot with like likely to sells necessarily in here. I think you can like stick to likely to sells in the other place. If it was really somebody who's like likely to sell, and I really mean it like that, I think like likely to sell puts like random aunts and uncles of mine in there, and I'm like, they're totally not selling. So if it's actually somebody who's ready to sell, you could definitely go into Business Tracker here, and I would probably put them either in nurturing, put them in initial contact, kind of like depending on where your relationship is with them. And then action plans and everything else I think would have to be done over in the CRM. I don't know if it can be done exactly from Business Tracker.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure
I'm
it's all
curious
linked
about
there.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to go in and play around with it there. But there's multiple ways today, like, and this is like why I always like to like group us back. I would focus more on like getting them organized in here and actually having good things. Like the point of today is to organize everything. I put this in like our action step that you guys will get out of the deck. Organize this accordingly, and then you can get into like the nitty gritty, like more of like the tactical steps of actually organizing each client within there. But for now, just make sure that they're organized within the right column is what I would focus on before next week.
Thank you.
I'm understanding action plans more for like the contact, and the checklists work well within Business Tracker.
Yeah.
Gradable checklist.
Yeah, checklists are more for Business Tracker.
Okay, quick question. Do you put open house leads in as initial contact?
Yes.
Would you do that? Okay.
Yes. Unless they're like really quick to convert. Like I've had a few who are like just
Yeah.
ready to start that onboarding process 2 days later. Great. Then like now you've automatically went into searching really quickly. But those people who maybe like responded once or just never responded, they'll stay in initial contact. But like not for like 8 months. Like if they just really are ghosting me and they really don't want to work with me, like cut the dead weight, get them out of there. It's okay.
Yeah, because that's probably the best way to track it, like, oh, when was the last time? I mean, it's a way to keep top of mind who your
Yeah.
leads are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's some people like I go in, like I see the name and I go in here every single day and I'm like, oh my God, completely forgot about this person, and then the alert comes up that I should be reaching out to them in X amount of months and whatever. So it's very helpful just to continuously have them be reminded to you in that sense. Okay. Feel good?
Yeah, great
Okay.
session.
Thank you. Don't get overwhelmed with, David and I getting crazy over here with calendars. I'll have them on another time, guys. Don't worry about it. But just really focus, organize this pipeline. Next week, we'll get into the nitty gritty. We got a lot of time together. You're going to get tired of me in a couple weeks. I promise you. Now it's all cool. Now Kate's cool. You're going to be like, oh my God, I really don't like this chick anymore from Westchester in a little bit, but I'll help you. You'll make some more money. All right, you guys good?
Thank you.
Cool. All right, I'll see you guys next week.
Great. And these
Thank you.
these are recorded, right?
Thank
These are
you.
recorded. Yeah.
Okay, and we find them in our dashboard.
Yeah, just go
under-
into past events. Probably by like the end of today, it should be up with the
Oh,
deck.
awesome. Excellent. Kate, this was fabulous. Thank you.
Yay.
Thank
That's
you.
what I'm here for. Sometimes I'm okay. We'll see. Bye,
Okay.
guys. Have a good